Hi, welcome today. I'm Bill Fowler with Southwire. I'm one of the senior trainers at Southwire SSU. I'm also the manager of the IAC relationship for Southwire nationally. I want to welcome you today. We're going to be visiting our booth today, and one of the sections we have is our pulling solutions. So today we're going to review some of our pulling options that you have available for you, and we'll go through that equipment here in just a second. Hi, this is Bill Fowler with Southwire. We're here today to talk about some of our solutions. And one thing we want to talk about when we hear the word solutions, that's a lot of products that are grouped together in a category. So first category we're going to talk about today is our pulling category. So our feeder, what we call our feeder cable or our feeder pullers. So we're going to go through some equipment. I'm going to show you some features of it, but we really want to talk about the solution as a whole, because each of these parts really work together, and for you to be productive and safe on the job site, using each one of these products together in this solution really helps. So let's start off by talking about our tuggers. We're going to take a step back here. So right here we have our 10K tugger, our 6K tugger, and our 3K battery operated tugger. All of our tuggers are really what they call an A-frame design. And the reason we talk about an A-frame design is you can kind of see here is that you have the base of the unit here and then it extends into the conduit and kind of creates an A-frame. When we do a tug or when we do a pull, you have tension on the rope here, and so it forces down on the end and on the unit, so it doesn't require you to bolt it down. That's where you get the force to lock it in place. So all of our tuggers are in that A-frame design. And by not having to bolt them down, they're easy to maneuver around. You'll see the wheel setup here on our 10K, and then on our 3K and our 6K, they're both on a cart. The nice thing about these setups is that you can see all the parts and pieces to the unit, so you can make sure everything's there. So for your parts person or your tool person who are checking in and out equipment at your shop, it's easy to look around and see what's missing. You see the conduit adapters in the back. You see all the unit here in the front, the motor and the extended arm. So everything is visible. Nothing is hidden in a box, so you don't take something to the job site and you're actually missing something. So it's easy to see. So that's the great thing about our tuggers, is the way we have them on our carts or the 10K on its own frame, you can see everything that goes with it. So let me talk about some features with our equipment, okay? We talk about safety. Safety is huge on the job site, okay? We want people to go home at the end of the day safe, not injured, have longevity in this career. So let's talk about some of those features. As we said, number one is ease of mobility. With the wheels, you have foam-filled tires. It's easy to push around. It's easy for one person to move this equipment around. We talk about now in the 10K, let's talk about the jacks that we have for this. You'll see this screw type right here. I can actually lower and raise this arm with a simple twist of this handle. Very easy. This has a 25-to-1 ratio. And when you see other tuggers in the industry, there's usually like a 12 or 15-to-1 ratio, so a little bit jerky, very hard to move up and down. This is very smooth and easy for one person to move the arm up and down to set into place. So again, that helps the one person setup. The other point I want to bring out here, let me grab a piece of rope real quick and I'll demonstrate this, is that we have our cap stands. So you'll see our cap stands here, they're pointed in up direction, right? So in our 6K, our 3K, and our 10K, we have the cap stand pointing up. Why do we have that pointing up? For a reason as when I'm tugging on a pull, and I've got my rope in here, I'm going to kind of simulate a pull with my rope around the capstan. Normally with a capstan on the side of the unit, you would be standing directly behind this tugger. With the capstan pointing up, this forces you to have to stand off to one side. So what this does, it takes you out of the rope path. So this is a safety design that we do with all of our tuggers, making sure we have the capstan pointing up. It forces the user of the unit to stand off to the side to be able to take the rope off the capstan, which is a big safety factor, because I have a lot of tension on this rope and I don't want to be in its path if it breaks. That's a huge safety issue on the job site. So again, with this 10,000 pound tugger, you could have 10,000 pounds worth of tension on that rope and it snap and you stand behind it, you could actually have a major injury. So being able to stand off to the side is much safer. A nice feature with our 10K tool, you'll see the spherical drive down here on the bottom. So as the rope comes in, this base actually forces the rope to go up the capstan, kind of like a screw. So you have a less likely chance of the rope crossing over itself. Now the nice thing about our 6K and our 3K is that when you have a tilted base, but if it does, the rope does cross over on it, you do have a reverse gear, so I can reverse this capstan and take that overlapped rope off and then restart my pull. So that's a big safety factor with this, because normally you see on tuggers that don't have a reverse, you're sitting there trying to yank on the rope to get that crossover out off the capstan. So again, one of the new features we see this year is our battery operated 3K. You'll see here with our Milwaukee whole hog with the 18 volt battery. So now this makes it a little more portable. I'm not having to worry about power to have on the job site. Less setup time, less mobility, because I don't have to have a generator, don't have to have a drop cord. So that's a nice feature of this, the 3K tugger. And a combination we'll talk about a little bit later on is combination of our quick ropes and our simple cable, is that we've lowered the coefficient friction that you see on a job site. So the COF. So basically it's easier to pull because you have to have no lube on the cable, and you've got our simple rope, and we'll talk about that rope in just a second. All right, so let's talk a little bit about safety and COVID-19. So we talked about the ease of setup with the tuggers with the one-person operation, because now you're having a limited site, but now we see OSHA and different organizations talking about communication devices, walkie-talkies, handsets, that kind of thing, because of close proximity to your face. You don't want cross-contamination. So we have a system here called our trigger system. Let me show you this. So our trigger system consists of a master, a remote, and handheld units. You get two handheld units, a remote and a master, and a case. What these are able to do is you can hook these up to your equipment, and they can communicate between both ends of your pull, your feed in and your tuggy in. So what happens is you'll have one of these at one side of your pull, one at the other. I can step on the switch right here. The person at the other end will see a ready light come on, and when they're ready, all they do is step on their trigger and the pull happens. Something happens on the pull, all you have to do is step off one of the triggers. We can shut the equipment down on each end, either with a feeder or a tugger, no matter what. No whoa, 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 go, 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 all that on a radio, it's instantaneous. That's the nice thing about these. With a handheld unit, we have 3 miles line of sight between the master and the remote. If we need something repeatability because of the condition of the building, that's where the handheld units come in. I can either have a safety person walking around this, if they see something unsafe on the job, they just hit the stop button, it shuts the pull down. It also acts as a repeater, so it will repeat the signal from the master to the remote. And we can get, you have 2 units that come with a kit, but you can also do up to 5 units. So we can have 5 total handheld units as repeaters, and then the master and the slave. The nice thing about the units, and I'll show you here, is again, as I said earlier with a low volt switch, I get a power indicator to let me know when to go to low gear. Another thing, it gives me a low voltage warning, okay? It lets me know that the other person's ready, and we also running. It has a running light, so it lets you know when you're running. A nice thing about this with the amp readout, on the side you have a chart right here, depending on which tugger, your 10K, your 6K, and your 3K, depending on how many lights you have and depending on which speed you're in, it'll give you your average of what you're seeing poundage wise. And what you can use is our cable pull calculator, so you can compare to what you got on your cable pull calculator software, either our app or our Excel spreadsheet, and you can compare it to what you're seeing here on the actual pull. If it's way off, you may want to stop because something's wrong. You've missed a 90 or something like that, or there may be something in the pipe. So this just gives you a good reference chart right here on the side to see where you are on your pull calculations. So again, I can't stress enough safety with this type setup. This takes the guesswork out of it. All somebody has to do is either mash a button or lift a foot up on the pull to stop the pull. We're not having to have any communication devices on the job, phones, radios, so forth. This makes a pull really safe. And again, we can have a safety manager or a project manager walking around and they see an unsafe condition on the job site while tug's going on or pull's going on. All they can do is just mash this button. They shut everything down. They shut the feeder down, they shut the tugger down. So this is just a great product here for safety. Again, they're waterproof, so splash proof, so you really won't have to have a problem of them shorting out on the job site. The battery life in them, they have lithium ion batteries, so you can get 8 hour plus out of these units. They also have a battery indicator on them, so you can actually see the strength of the battery, the ones that are powered by batteries. They both have a battery indicator, so you can see when you need to charge them. The case has the chargers and power strip built in, so it's very convenient. So again, for safety, I cannot stress enough about the trigger system. It's a must for any of your equipment. So let's talk about, we've talked about tuggers. Let's talk about the other part of the solution. Let's talk about ropes. So we talked about our different type of ropes. What we make is our Simpull quick ropes. This is a single braid rope, okay? Not a double or triple braid. It's 9/16 in size, has 32,000 pound tensile strength. It also doesn't soak up water and it doesn't stretch. So here you see a traditional rope right here, our 3/4 or 7/8 inch rope. You can see how hard it is to pull in this conduit. I can take this with 2 fingers right here and pull this Simpull rope. Our Simpull rope has 30% less friction than a traditional rope. I can get the same strength out of this 9/16 rope as I normally see in a 7/8 or 3/4 inch rope. So now I got one size rope that fits all. The nice thing about being single braid too is that if I need to make up a head on the job site, we have instructions on how to put a pulling eye back in this so somebody accidentally cuts it off. But this right here, typically you see this cut 20 to 30% out of the pull time because of the less coefficient of friction. It's easier to pull, less strain on your equipment. And as you pull wire in, as you notice in traditional pull, the pull gets easier. Well, that's the same thing because you're taking that rope out of the equation. That's where you saw all that stress before. But when we talk about safety, I told you this rope will not stretch. All the hand injuries I've seen here and heard in the University of Contractors come through is from the rope stretch. So rope stretch, typically somebody will grab the rope and it yanks in and they lose a finger or they have a hand injury. This rope will not stretch, so you won't get that banjo effect you see with a traditional rope. So that's a great thing about our Simpull rope. Another feature is, look right here, I've got 600 feet of rope stored in this trash can. Traditionally, you would have 600 feet of rope on a wooden reel. Our rope only weighs 52 pounds dry versus you look at a traditional rope of the same length, that's 152 pounds. So I've just cut down 100 pounds with just the use of the rope. So this is only 52 pounds. One person can tote this around. I'm not having to have a reel to have to reel this back up on this traditional rope. So again, that's our Simpull ropes. One other thing I want to point out around solutions is this is our slide it blanket. We nicknamed this after the inventor, Mr. Alan Hooper. We call it the Hoop blanket, but we love to, this is our slide it blanket. 2 purposes. You see the edge of the cans, normally sharp, cut people. We have magnets into this blanket that I could take and wrap this around the outside of a can or a sharp surface. Keeps you from getting cut. The other nice thing about this, it has the pointed end on it. What that is for is when you have cable going into your conduit, a lot of times your cable will drag right here and you will peel the insulation off. You can take this blanket, it's very slick, you can wrap this around your cable, slide it up in the pipe like so. You can take the magnets and secure it over to the side, and now I'm not worried about my cables dragging on that conduit. Okay, this is worth its weight in gold on a job site. For safety, number one, protecting your cable going in. You're not having to have a person now sitting here guiding that cable into the pipe. I'm not worried about the edge of the cans. I can actually use this to protect my people from getting cut on the job site, doorways. This will stick to anything metal, okay? So that's our slide it blanket, great product. So we've talked about our ropes. The other things we do have is our jet line, our fish tapes. Again, these fish tapes or our new poly that will not break. You can bend it in all kinds of different directions here. Sorry about that. But look here, I can take this, bend it. It's not going to break. I can tie this in a knot. Not going to break. Okay. These fish tapes, it's very slick too, so it'll go through the conduit much easier than a steel. It's much lighter, so we don't deal with all that rust. Because one thing I can guarantee you that a steel fish tape will do, it will rust. This will not break. This is guaranteed for life. If it does, just go back and get you a brand new one. So again, that's our fish tapes. We come in 240, we have 125 foot lengths, and we also have 100 foot lengths. So that's some of our fish tapes for fishing in cable versus using our string. So let's move on to how do we lift a reel. So we've talked about pulling it, we've talked about our ropes. Let's talk about our setups, our jack stands. We do have a 3,000 pound set, but we also have our quick jacks right here. So these are capable of lifting 6,000 pounds. And then we have our Pro jacks here that are able to lift up to 10,000 pounds. The quick jacks, they're hand operated. So I have a hand crank right here that I can crank up and down to lift the reel, okay? With our Pro jacks, we have, these can be lifted with a drill. So all I do is attach a drill onto here, and with an 18 volt drill or 20 volt drill, I can lift up to 10,000 pounds with just with a drill. So let's talk about safety again. Safety, they're easy to maneuver around. You'll see the wheels right here that I can then roll these around. The quick jacks can collapse down. They're less than 50 pounds a piece because we design them that way, because OSHA says anything under 50 pounds reduces back injuries. So that's why we design these to be under 50 pounds each. Another key safety with them, you'll see here, you see these hooks. We design these jack stands with a safety mechanism. So this will wrap around the axle. We also have bearings here to make the axle turn a little bit easier, but this keeps the axle from hopping off during a pull. When you get down towards the end of the pull with a reel of cable, kind of gets unbalanced. It can start bouncing depending on the speed you're going, and this will keep that axle from falling off. So you can see right here on the quick jacks, we do have our axle that we make. We make two different axles, a 5,000 pound and 10,000 pound rated axle, but you'll see the safety hook right here in place to keep this axle from jumping off. Another nice little thing about our axles, you'll see this groove right here. So I told you we have bearings right here that makes the axle turn a lot easier. Well, this groove will keep this axle from walking itself off of the jack stand. So that works, again, we talk about safety, and I told you earlier about these solutions working together. See the axle designed to work with the rollers so they won't slide off. You got the safety hooks on there. And so now what we're trying to do with Southwire, you know, we have so many solutions. We have our simple wire, we have our simple pulling heads, we have our Maxxis equipment, we have our triggers, our ropes, we have our stacked reels. Now we have a new speed service that we offer for special order to speed up orders if you need custom made cables or you need a standard stock order rushed. So minimum, so sometimes we have mend, you can bypass those mend, but our Southwire speed service, check that out on our website. Great service if you need cable very fast for a special project. But again, we have all these different solutions that we talk about with Southwire. But what we're trying to do when we get talking about lifting reels, we're trying to get away from people touching product or having equipment on the job site and trying to limit this down to 1 or 2 people. So we need to talk about now what we have next is our simple reel and our flange. So if you would give us, let's take a look. So we talk about the old way. So traditionally I would have to have my reel cable, my axle, and my jack stands and set those up. So now what Southwire is doing, so now we have our simple reel. So what our simple reel is basically a reel in a reel. I can take and transport up to 6,000 pounds on this reel. Nice thing about it here is that once I get this in place, I can have the chocks that we see here. They come attached to the unit. I can chalk this down to the ground. I'll set one on the other side, and then I can just pull, make my pull. It will actually reel from inside. So I'm not having to jack this up. It only takes about 25 pounds of tension to get this to turn. The nice thing about this is the physics. On every reel you have a heavy spot. When you have an inner reel like this, you'll notice, watch when I pull this. This has a heavy spot on it. Watch that heavy spot where it will go. It'll go down to the bottom of the reel. So what it does is actually lowers the center of gravity of the weight on this, and that's what makes it so much easier to move around. I've got that heavier weight closer to the ground. So one person can actually move this around. We see 6,000 pounds on this a lot of times on job sites. One person is moving this reel. Easy to maneuver in place because each side independently turns. So this is only available through our solutions distributors. Great option. So another option that's available to you to buy is what we call our flange. So we took the concept of our simple reel, being able to move it around, independently turn, jack the reel up, and we did it into a smaller setup. So this is our simple flange. What this allows you to do is you take these off, you put them in the arbor hole of the reel. You can expand out, it's kind of like a molly bolt, it'll expand out, and then I can go here and I can jack up the reel. This will work up to a 34-inch reel, 2,000 pounds. So once I attach it onto the reel, I can jack the reel up depending on where the center point is, and then I can just roll it around. You see we have guards right here. So this is guards for a finished floor, so you can buy these separate, but we do this for if you have a job site with a VCT floor or wood or marble, something like that. These are cushions that you can put on this metal, over this metal, to keep you from damaging a floor. So the principle is, once I have this on the reel, I'm just going to take, and now I'm going to just roll this reel in place wherever I need on the job site. I have my chocks right here. Same thing on the simple reel. I'll chalk it in place, then I make my pull. The nice thing about these little stands right here, so when I'm storing it, little stand, it just goes into it just like you would a wooden reel. Flare it out, and it's all you do. Now they store. And the great thing about this stand, I can use this to move it around the job site. So I just tilt them over. Now I've got a truck handle that I can now move these. So this is available for you to purchase. This is our simple flange, but the limitations is 2,000 pounds and 34-inch, okay? So that's some of our pulling solutions for today. So for more information, just go to our website at southwire.com, or we'll have some more information at the end of our booth for you to contact us. So thank you for your time.